Hey everybody, what's going on? Great reason to be here today because it's time to do a little bit of learning on how to add fish to an existing aquarium, not unlike this 240 gallon aquarium right here. You see these fish swimming around? There's a big hazard for them as we add new fish to the aquarium. Now, how do we keep them safe along with that whole system and add new fish? Well, I'm gonna run through my quarantine system here real quick because everybody, in my opinion, whether you're saltwater, freshwater, brackish, doesn't matter, should have a proper quarantine system, which is super easy to do, super cheap to put together. It's not that big of a deal, and it just should be done. One of the huge benefits for a quarantine system is you do get some new fish in. You can properly medicate them ahead of time. You can have them in an observation period to check and see if they have any, bacterial infection, if they have ick, velvet, anything kind of crazy that could possibly be brought into your existing systems, and also treat them without really worrying about setting off bigger problems within your system from the treatments. I mean, realistically, a lot of the medications that can go into aquariums and stuff like that can be problematic for the existing large system, and so it's very important to do. It should not ever be skipped for any reason, realistically, other than just laziness. Really, it's just what it boils down to. It should be done. Almost every horror story that you hear out there comes from not quarantining fish. All right, so let's get down here. We're gonna get down low. We're down here underneath my 240, okay? How do you like that continuous shot to get right down here, okay? Now, right here, I have a 20 gallon Sea Clear acrylic aquarium, which is a blue background, which drives me crazy. I don't like the blue background personally for my aquascapes or anything like that. It was a used tank that I believe all I paid for it was gas money. I basically just had to go pick it up along with a couple of other aquariums of this same style that actually, if you go back to some of my older videos from like maybe a month ago, something like that, I built a sump out of a larger version of this tank. And the reason why I like an acrylic tank for a quarantine system is how lightweight it is. I don't leave it permanently here. I typically will take it out and store it because there's long periods of time between getting new fish into the fish room. So I don't need this thing up and running at all, realistically. So I will completely tear it down and put it up on a shelf in the other room. I have been known to run it in the other room when need be because there isn't a lot of real estate in here. But from some of my recent organizing, I actually have space for it now to be set up under the 240 and then take it down and store it away. A couple things that we need to talk about. You need to have a heater, so you're gonna have to have a spare heater. This is probably the most expensive part of having a quarantine tank, is actually having a nice operational heater with a good thermostat so you can set the temperature properly. I have an old AquaClear 20 hang-on back filter that just sits dry, bone dry, up on the shelf with this tank when it's in storage, and I don't do anything else with it other than use it for this. All it has in it right now is a sponge just a sponge insert, which I replace and get rid of, and then I'll actually sterilize this hang-on back filter and let it air dry, so in between use it doesn't carry any potential disease or anything with it. And then I just replace the sponge, and that's all I really have to worry about. Now, a lot of the biological media that I use comes in these bags right here. Now I have, in that sump over there, I think I have about 40 of these bags or something like that. There's a ridiculous amount in there. So what I'll do is I'll actually take one of these out and just drop it in the tank like this, and then I fill it up with water, turn the hang-on back filter on, check my heater, make sure it's good to go, and that's pretty much it. There's a couple things I point out to people sometimes. I will take a chunk of, you know, this one is actually just going to get cleaned and used for something else, but I would typically take a chunk of filter floss out of that sump and drop it in there just for the little added, you know, bacterial, you know, doo-doo boost, you know what I'm saying? So I'll take a chunk of that, throw that in there also, and then it's all set up and ready to go. Super simple, not a big deal. This is just an old, ugly, used tank. Make sure that your quarantine tank is an ugly, old, used tank that you don't want to set up. Because 9 times out of 10, what I've found is that people will have a quarantine tank, and then a couple weeks later, it's got driftwood in it, rocks in it, a bunch of plants, and then all of a sudden it's an operating system, and now it's no longer a quarantine. So one of the reasons I'll buy an old beat up tank like this, or just find a free one out there, is I'm never going to set this up as a setup tank. It's all scratched, it's all dinged up, it's got the blue background, which I would never rock. That is a serious tip that I think everybody should follow with your quarantine tank. I do like the acrylic tank because it's easier to sterilize than glass is, but glass is also super easy to sterilize just with some bleach. Rinse it out really well, and then let it air dry, and it'll be sterilized for the next time that you need to use it. Now, quarantine period. More people, I get this question all the time. You want to let these guys and girls, you know, all the fish that you get, you want to leave them in here for a 2-week period is a good amount of time to figure out if they're sick, who's not going to make it, who's not eating, who's, you know, who may or may not be, you know, pooping correctly, or maybe have a swim bladder issue or something. There's a lot of issues that you can figure out in a 2-week period. Now, because they are going to be living in this tank, I highly recommend some old PVC parts. Now, these will operate as little hides and stuff like that, so that when it is dark and stuff, they have a place to go hide and hang out and kind of chill. I just have a couple with me right now. Typically, I'd put in more than this. I like to use the white PVC. I would normally do a larger size piece than this. This is just 1.5 inch that I had sitting around. I would normally do something like 3-inch pieces, nice little caves for them to go hang out and stuff like that, so that there is some hiding area and things along those lines. And the white PVC is super easy to sterilize. Also, like I said, you know, just what is it? 2 tablespoons of bleach per gallon. Tablespoon, not teaspoon. Let it soak for like 5 minutes. Rinse it off, let it air dry. It's going to be, you know, pretty darn clean as far as it's probably cleaner than this is, and this came right out of my piles of PVC over there. So I mean, it's all dusty and stuff, but and then it's just as simple as that. Same process with this biological media. Before I go to reuse it, will be the same process. The only slight difference with this is I'll do the same mixture of bleach water, although I'll leave this in the bleach water overnight. Mainly because then I don't have to set a timer and hopefully go, well, is it 3 hours? Is it this? Is it that? If I leave it overnight, it's generally at some point in time going to be about 12 hours. Then I will put it in a bucket of clean water, just to let kind of all the bleach, whatever, get out of all the porous material here. And then I will let it completely air dry before I do anything with it again. And then you're pretty much just good to go. People have asked me about Safe recently. I use Safe a lot in my quarantine system. It makes it super easy to detoxify. And then, of course, you want to be doing your regular water changes, maybe a little bit more than normal, because, you know, this isn't a planet aquarium. There really isn't that much else going on other than feeding and medication and this and that. But remember that you're going to have to redose your medications after you do the water changes. Just check on the bottle whether it's ICX or any of the treatments that you could be doing to your fish to make sure to redose and get them back up. But a 2-week period is generally plenty of time, and hopefully that helps you out and explains just how to set up a quarantine system and get it rocking and rolling in a really easy way. Yeah. Later.